Hot Wheels. Do you know what birthday I want to have, Holly? Yeah. I want to have Hot Wheels birthday.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's extensive Simply Fit review, and today I'm going to be going over this beautiful package here, which is the 2 meter by 1 meter by 35 millimeter thick Rolley Max mat. This mat's from an Australian owned and run company. I'm going to be going over all the pros and any cons, so let's get into it. So as you probably saw earlier, this mat came shipped to me in some brown wrapping paper all the way from Melbourne. I'm 600 kilometres north of Melbourne, up in the Mallee, and you can see it arrived to me very, very well wrapped. A couple of pieces of wrapping paper were ripped, but only slightly, and that didn't affect the product underneath. This mat was delivered to my door within 3 days of ordering it, so it came very, very fast. Here's a comparison with it with one of those regular foam mats you can get from Big W or Kmart. The diameters of this mat is 2 meters by 1 meter by 35 millimeter thick. And you can see I've just got the 15 millimeter rubber gym flooring underneath, just to show a bit of a comparison between the thickness. So straight off the bat, you can see this is a very, very thick mat. It looks really dense in the wrapping paper, and I was excited to see what was underneath and how it would stack up against my other gym flooring. While I unbox this mat, let's just go over a little bit about what the company Rolley is. So Rolley is an Australian owned and operated company operating out of Melbourne. Its owner and operator Marty is a fantastic bloke, and he used to run a business which was a waterside event. He toured the country, and the mats provided some fall protection where he laid them beneath the waterside. When COVID hit, that business collapsed, and he discovered the mats can be repurposed into home gym mats, wrestling mats, jiu-jitsu mats and the like. So he's tweaked the recipe to make the mat a bit firmer. So what they are is they're a high density closed rubber cell. So basically what that means is it's a rubber mat without the air in between all the bits of rubber, so it's very, very dense. It's designed to be durable. It's guaranteed for life against any frayed or crumbling edges. And Marty also offers a take-back policy, which means that if you don't want the mat anymore, send it back to him. He'll recycle it for you. This is meaning it's a circular economy. This is just a fantastic initiative from any Australian company, and one that I think a lot more gym companies can employ. One thing Marty told me is when you unwrap the mat for the first time, it might have a bit of a strong smell, the rubber smell. I didn't get any of that smell myself. I did notice how nice the rubber looked. It's got the Rolley logo on the one side. That's just a pressed on logo that can rub off if you don't want it on there. But yeah, first impressions of this mat out of the box was it's very, very dense. It's very smooth, but it's got a bit of grip to it. So I've just put the yoga mat beside it and on top of it to see the difference. Those mats underneath the Rolley mat are the Bunnings 12 millimeter 1 meter square mats. So I'll go in a bit more depth later on in the video on the differences between the two. But yeah, you can just see there that the Bunnings mats are quite porous. There's a fair bit of air between the rubber cells, whereas the Rolley mat's very dense, very smooth, and just a very nice looking mat. Square edges. So when you're putting together gyms or gym flooring, the square the edge the better, because you can then tape them together. You can fit them beside each other very nicely, and it's nice and neat. Here's a comparison. I was saying this is the Bunnings mat, which is very dense. It's 12 millimeters thick, but it's very open rubber. A lot of dirt can get in between the bits of rubber. Whereas here's the Rolley mat, which is really dense, really very closed cell, and there's a comparison of the two together. So you can see quite a big difference there with the finish of the rubber. So I'll go through a bunch of tests I did for the Rolley mat, and the first was to get a 25 kilo plate, put it on and see how much the rubber dints in. And I got one of my buddies to do this jump test just to see how strong it is under your feet, how durable it'll be, and it passed really well. It's very, very stiff. It's got a bit of give to it, but it's very stiff, which I was surprised with for the thickness. One of the things I was really keen on trying is using this mat as a deadlift platform. So you can see with the bar on it, that's actually my just standard Olympic bar, which is 7 foot long. It's a good size. You can get the weights on the edges, you can stand in the middle, and I'll go through some footage of doing some various movements in a moment, but I'm really impressed with it. So I've done some heavy deadlifts on it, I've done some pendlay rows, I've squatted on it, I've done a lot of movements, and although it does give under your feet a little bit, it doesn't give way so much that you feel unstable through the ankles. So if a lot of you guys that are into lifting know that you need to have a really solid base for squats and deadlifts, and I have gone heavy on this mat, and yeah, I don't find it too uncomfortable. When you're squatting with shoes on, it can be a little soft under your feet, but it's really marginal. I'll go through a couple of ideas later on in the video of what I've got when you want to be doing deadlifts with these mats. I've got some good solutions to it, but I'll roll through some more footage of us training on this mat. I've done some drop tests. Let's have a listen to the drop testing on the mat versus on the rubber flooring underneath. And here's Josh doing a 170 kilo deadlift on it, and it's just such a nice mat to deadlift on. I really recommend it if you want to use it the way we're using here as a bit of a platform. It's fine. It's got a little bit of bounce, as you can see. So obviously the next test I did was the bounce test using dumbbells. So let's go through some footage of that and see how it stacks up compared to the rubber flooring. So if you watch my YouTube for a while, guys, you know that this is my big core 3 workout and ab giant set that I do with all the clients before every session, and I do it before every time I train back and legs. Depending on my day, I might do this movement 8 to 10 times each day, and I've been using with the clients these blue Big W mats, and although they're good, they're not very big. You can see Keith's on the Rolley mat beside me, a lot more room on it. It's got a lot more grip and just way more comfortable. So when we're turning around and we're doing our abs and we're laying on our back and we're moving around from the plank to the side plank, it's just a lot more comfortable, a lot more room to move. You can see I've even got 2 people doing the big core warm up. Both of these guys are over 6 foot each, one 6'5", one 6'2", and you can see they both fit on there very comfortably to do the warm up. So this mat is super versatile. If you've got a home gym, you need to make things work in multiple ways. So you can utilize this mat however you want. So you can cut this mat. If you get a Stanley knife, you can cut it. If you need to go around poles in your gym, if you need to put equipment on it, you can cut it. Although if you look at Marty on his Instagram being Rolley Max or on the website, he has got some different sizes he's coming out with in the future. He'll have a 50 centimeter by 1 meter and a 1 meter square mat. He's going to do a few different sizes to fit different people's needs. The smaller ones for when you're just doing ab work, more portable. The thing with this mat is it is a large mat and you can roll it up, and if you've got some heavy straps to keep it together, it will stay rolled up. But I just put it behind my dumbbell rack behind us here, and it sits really good. It's recommended you just store it flat, so against a wall, or even if you've got a roof, you might put some rafters up in the roof. You can put it up there if you've got a gym with some beams. So just keep it stored flat. It looks fantastic, but just be aware it is a very, very solid mat, so it doesn't really roll up if you think about it like a yoga mat. You can see here just another test I was doing was obviously the footing and how stable I feel doing squats. So I think this was around about 120, 130 kilo safety bar squats, and I did feel a little bit of movement in my feet. It's not 100% solid, but it's really close. I really wouldn't have an issue squatting on it myself. You can see the feet are hardly digging into the mat there. I did feel really good on it. The option that I have in the future is creating a deadlift platform out of these mats. So I'll go through what my idea is with that, the best for your footing and utilization of the Rolley mat. So basically, after using this mat for a few weeks now doing deadlifts, I really want to make a platform. Problem with platforms is they stick up a long way out of the ground. They're really bulky and they get in the way. So what I thought I'd do is I pulled up two of my Bunnings 12mm mats and I replaced it with the Rolley mat. You can see it fit in this hole really well. And now you can see I've got two layers of Bunnings mats. So there's still about a 12mm gap between the second mat and the top of the Rolley mat. So in the future, what I'm going to be doing is replacing two sections of the Bunnings mats with two Rolley mats. And in the middle section there where you can see I've doubled up the Bunnings mats, I'm going to triple the mats up because they're a lot harder to stand on, and I'm going to use it as a conventional platform without having a surrounding of it. And I think that's going to look fantastic. So consider that. If you've got mats in your gym already, pull 4 of them up, make a platform. I really wanted to do some high drop tests with some dumbbells. So this was one of my final major tests for the mat before I've done this review, and it was a 35 kilo rubber hex dumbbells where I would drop them from shoulder height onto the mat. I made sure I dropped them hard with the corners hitting the mat. I also did that drop where it's one dumbbell on the Bunnings flooring and one dumbbell on the Rolley mat. And you can see there was minimal damage to the rolling mat. It was really well impacted. I feel a lot more comfortable dropping a dumbbell from overhead, even though you really shouldn't be, onto the Rolley mat than onto the Bunnings flooring, even though both do support the weight and are shock absorbent. That Rolley mat is just a lot better at absorbing. That's the biggest feature of this mat I can put across to you guys, is you will feel a lot better dropping things onto this mat. You feel like your equipment's been taken better care of, and you feel like it's just a lot more stable underfoot. So you can see the care instructions are really basic. You just can get a damp cloth and give the mat a wipe over to get any dirt or sweat off it. I've only cleaned the mat down the one time, as you can see here, and I just literally got a wet wipe, gave it a quick wipe over. It's easy to clean. It comes up back to brand new. But what I've found is after you're standing on it for a while, it actually doesn't look too dirty. Once you get your footprints over it and it sort of blends in, the mat doesn't look as dirty as what you think when you first get it and stand on it for the first time. So then we go into the cost of the mats. So when you're doing a home gym at home, you need to stick to a budget. So the cost of each of the rolling mats, being the 2 meter by 1 meter by 35 millimeter, is $165 plus postage or shipping. Now, that may seem like a fair bit when you can get Bunnings mats or mats from other areas for $30 or $40 each. But when you consider that these mats are 35 millimeters thick, to get the same coverage of a Bunnings mat, I need 6 of them, which they're $30 each. So they're over $200 for the same amount of coverage thickness as well. So I think it's a really good price for the quality of the product. And I went online and checked a few more similar quality and size mats, and you can see here this one's $159. It's 200 centimeters by 120, but this mat's only 7 millimeters thick. So it's the same thing, closed cell rubber, and $159, very comparable to the Rolley mat, but a quarter of the thickness. And then you go to the Versafit flooring, which is a common flooring people get for their gym. It's 50 millimeter thick. It's a high density. It's dual layered there. It's got a couple of different types of rubber in it, and that's $99 for a meter square. So you're looking at $200 for the 2 meters. So overall, I think that the Rolley mat's really on par with other similar products on the market. The quality is high, but then when you throw in all those other features like I discussed earlier, like the lifetime guarantee of the frayed or crumbling edges, the take back policy, the fact that it's an Australian company with a local Victorian business owner trying to make the company strong, I really think that it's the best way to support local business by supporting Rolley mats. If you're thinking about getting one, let me know, and I'd love to see everyone's impression when they get one. If you want more details on the mat, give me a message either on the comment section or my Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. And like always, guys, thanks for watching the videos. Thanks for supporting Simply Fit. The gym build will be starting in August. I'm excited to get a lot of content on the channel for that. If you haven't subscribed, jump on, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. I've got way more content coming out, a lot of exciting things happening. But just, as always, guys, keep flexing.